I've been working with Claire Gott and Laura from Headway. We decided that we wanted to do a project working with the service users of Headway to educate our young people.
The reason why I got in contact with Headway is because I heard about the charity and was just bowled over by the amount of information that they was willing to provide.
It wasn't ever going to be such a kind of big project. It was just going to be like a presentation, but we thought we could make it into something more.
The criteria that I was really looking for is young people that's primarily been involved in violent crime, those that have been involved in substance misuse, and those who are obviously at risk because of their lifestyle. What we wanted to do is to educate them and prevent them from gaining a brain injury or giving it to somebody else.
I spent a lot of time with our service users at Headway as well, working out with them what they wanted to get across to the young people, what they thought it was important that they understood. And then as a group we thought about how could we kind of mimic those difficulties, how could we make those young people kind of have some sort of an insight into what it would be like to kind of feel that frustration of not being able to do something that they could do before.
We had a presentation from about 6 service users from Headway, which was brilliant. Having those service users there really made a big impact on the young people. They were very quiet throughout and they were obviously really listening to what they were saying.
I went to a party, there was a guy around there. He was causing a bit of trouble, and so we hoofed him out of the party and he threw a brick through the window. So I went out there to say what's going on.
Yeah.
He stuck a knife in my leg. It severed my femoral artery. I lost basically all my blood and all the oxygen to my brain. I had epileptic fits. I woke up, I didn't even know who my mum was. I've basically had to learn how to do everything again.
For somebody to sit in front of you that's got a brain injury and you can physically see that they've got a brain injury makes a bigger impact on them.
They could kind of really get an insight into the daily difficulties that someone who's had an acquired brain injury can experience, and also get across to them that how much life changes and how it only takes 1 second really for your whole life to change.
Yeah. Can you guys have a go at doing one of these one hand? That's how I do it, and that's how if I have milk, you know the thing on the milk, I put it there, undo it, and then I can do it. Yeah. I do a lot in there, and in there as well.
With your feet?
Yeah.
Quite good.
What about the in your mouth technique?
No, I don't do it.
Not so good for your teeth.
When I'm cooking stuff, I have to take stuff to the table, like a plate and I've got food in one hand while trying to steer this thing, and it's not an easy thing. Like holding it and stopping it, like swapping hands over, so he gets the right one.
It took me 3 years to say my son's name. It's only because of Headway helped me.
When I was about 14 and a half, one or two of my friends I was hanging around with at the time started to call me the odd name or two at school. But on the Friday I went into school, one of them decided to come up behind me and push me in the back, gently. And later on that night, I started to get a bit of a bad headache. For some reason, my mum woke up at 3:30 in the morning. Apparently I was laid on my bed. My eyes rolled right back in my head. I was in a coma. When I came out of a coma, I remember opening my eyes and seeing Father Christmas and a nurse dead by the side of my bed. Not realising that 3 months had passed, just thinking it was the next day, thinking, okay, it's October, what the bloody hell's Father Christmas doing standing by the side of my bed? And who the bloody hell's this other woman? It took me a good 6 months to be able to get any sort of normal walking back. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, move, go to the toilet. I even had to learn how to breathe properly again. I've got a weakness all down the left-hand side of my body. So when I walk, I tend to walk with a bit of a plod on the left-hand side. And I'm completely blind to the left out of both eyes, which means I'll never be able to drive.
It's not like on kind of soaps or films where people get up and they're fine, or they're in a coma for a week, they come out of it and they're fine. They're long-lasting effects, and they're life-changing, like they'll alter someone's life forever.
Trying to make young people aware of the choices they make and what they decide to do with their lives and the positions they put themselves in, and also just to think about the consequences of drug taking and drinking, that it's not only you know, getting arrested or something like that, but actually could have really long-term consequences for themselves or someone else.
Is a rectangle, so it goes heart in hand, circle, triangle, and draw a line straight down. A triangle, and it goes to the left of the circle.
Did you last night?
Yeah, and then right underneath the circle.
And
I want you to draw, and then on top of the circle, and then on the point
beers, like
triangle. On the top of the triangle, and across the top of the circle, or a rectangle.
I'll tell you then.
And what did you guys find like hard about that exercise? What made it difficult?
I couldn't hear what Aidan was saying.
No, I'm saying.
What do you guys?
I don't know, it's just awkward.
Not being able to pick out the voice of
Yeah.
There's a lot of people talking, weren't there, at the same time? That's kind of what it sometimes feels like if you've had a brain injury that's affected your kind of, it's called perception. You can't actually filter out different noises, so you can't, like if you were kind of talking and there's a road outside, you'd hear the cars at the same kind of volume level as like my voice kind of thing, so like being able to pick out background noise. So things like going into a supermarket where there's loads of people talking and stuff, it's really, really, really distressing and like can be really traumatic for people.
It's like I'd love to drive again, but I can't because I'll be driving along and I'd hear something over in the distance over there and I'll turn around, like I'll just crash the car again. So yeah, it'd be no point.
I was run over by a double-decker bus. Had to learn how to walk again, had to learn how to talk again, had to learn how to drink again, feed myself again. I had to be toilet trained again. So practically I was reborn. The hardest thing is how people treat you without a brain injury. 'Cause some people can treat you really shallow and it's not nice. It hurts.
I think people always think it's not going to happen to them. Well, it does, and it can, and we see it, you know, so often. And I guess it's just if we can just make them stop and think